Hey up guys! So it's been a while since I've done any TV coverage on my channel, but considering the monumental final season of Game of Thrones is less than 30 days away, I figured now is the time for me to start doing a predictions video and discuss what I think is going to happen in the last 6 episodes of Game of Thrones. All I can do is theorize and predict, and based off the teaser trailer, the actual trailer, and by rewatching the last 7 seasons of Game of Thrones, I have come up with my theories as to how I think the last season of Game of Thrones is going to unfold. I would love to hear from you guys. Who do you think is going to live? Who do you think is going to die? How do you think the show is going to end? Who's going to sit on the Iron Throne? Whatever you think, be sure to let me know in that comment section below. But yeah, that's why you're here. You want to know who I think is going to live and who I think is going to die. Let's get started. I'm going to be issuing a massive spoiler warning now because I am going to be talking about events and deaths from the past 7 seasons of Game of Thrones in this video, so if you aren't fully up to date on those 7 seasons, just go away. You do not need to be here, just get out. One thing that a lot of people were complaining about in season 7 was that no one died. Well, at least not many notable deaths. We had Lady Olenna and Littlefinger. They were probably the 2 biggest deaths of season 7, but yeah, it felt like we were shortchanged in the amount of deaths. But the only reason showrunners Dan and David would possibly keep so many people around is because we're going to lose so many big, important, lovable characters in the final season. They're basically just saving the best for last. But what do I think is going to happen? There's certainly some things that seem inevitable. The big one is the battle between the living and the dead. And from the looks of the trailer, it looks like this battle between the living and the dead is going to occur at Winterfell or somewhere near it. I'm predicting at the start of season 8, Dany and Jon are going to get to Winterfell. Jon's going to be reunited with his family, Sansa, Arya, and Bran. And then Truth Bomb is going to go off at the end of the first episode, or maybe the second one, and he is going to learn of his true lineage from Samwell or Bran, and that is that he is R plus L equals J, which is his father is Rhaegar Targaryen, his mum was Lyanna Stark, and he is essentially the Song of Ice and Fire, basically the rightful heir to the throne. So yeah, he is going to learn of that truth bomb, and Dany's going to learn it too, so that's going to be awkward. And to top it all off, Dany is then going to find out that she is pregnant with her nephew's baby. Yes, because drama, and we know that Dany is going to get pregnant because it's been teased a lot in season 7. Like, there's been so many hints that she is going to get pregnant, and who knows, maybe the child that's inside of her will be the prince or princess that was promised. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But incest babies aside, they've got to think about the bigger picture because the dead are on their way. They're probably going to get told by Beric, Tormund, and Ed that they are making their way south towards Winterfell, and they're going to start preparing for the battle of the living and the dead. They're going to have to start making the dragon glass weapons, and we saw a clip of Gendry in the trailer, and it looks like he's going to be doing his best blacksmithing and making as many weapons as possible out of the dragon glass. So yeah, they'll actually have a chance to kill some of the whites. I believe Jaime Lannister is going to make it to Winterfell. I believe he's going to be there alongside Brienne and Bronn, and they're going to be taking on as many whites as possible. From the look of the trailer of season 8, there is this theme of history repeating itself, and season 8 seems to be starting off just like season 1 did, with a queen and a king arriving at Winterfell. This time it's going to be Dany and Jon arriving in Winterfell rather than Cersei and Robert Baratheon. So yeah, this looks like it's repeating itself again, and because that's coming full circle, history repeating itself, I do wonder if Jaime's pushing Bran out the window is going to come into play here, because Bran is all knowledgeable now, he pretty much knows everything, and I do wonder if they're going to bring the fact that Jaime pushed Bran out the window into the narrative at some point. But again, the big picture, death is on the horizon. They need every man possible to help fight the dead, so they could use someone like Jaime for sure. The trailer for season 8 also starts with a clip of Arya running in what looks like the crypts of Winterfell, and she looks terrified. So got me thinking, what is it that she is petrified of? Why is she so afraid? And my theory is, well, if the Night King is near Winterfell, he could be raising the dead again. And what's in the crypts of Winterfell? Well, the fallen Starks. And the only thing that I think that could freak out Arya is if she saw somebody that she knew who was dead and was running after her and trying to kill her. So this could be a chance for the writers to fulfill the Lady Stoneheart thing that we've been wanting to see for ages, because if anyone reads the books, Lady Stoneheart is just the body of Catelyn Stark that was raised from the dead, and yeah, that never came, so this could be a chance for her to come and scare the shit out of Arya, or it could potentially be Robb Stark or Rickon Stark. It's very unlikely it would be her dad, Ned, because he was decapitated, and it's very unlikely they'll be able to raise the dead that way. Could be somebody else for all we know, but yeah, that's the only thing that I can think of that would petrify her enough to look that scared. But when it comes to the Stark children, I don't think all 4 of them are gonna make it to the end. It just seems very generous if all 4 of them got to the end. I think one of them has to die at least, but I don't know who it is, and maybe they won't die, they might warg and become something else. Like, Bran is what? Just a monotone, shell of who he was now. So if he died, he could warg into, the three-eyed raven and transcend his human body and live on as a tree person or a raven or some other creature. Sansa is someone you could say could die quite easily because she's not a good fighter, but she's been through a lot in this show and she's always survived, and I don't know, I feel like she will get to the end because she is a grafter, and I feel like she'll be a key player after the Battle of the Dead is done with. And then there's Arya, who I'd really like to see get to the end because she is one of my favorite characters, but at the same time, her character narrative has been all about death, and she has killed a lot of people, and it would be quite fitting if her character journey ended with her own death. Like, she takes all the final names off her list, and then the price for all the death that she's caused is her own life. Arya has always kind of been a lone wolf, but she has said in the books and the show that she longs to be part of a pack, and because Season 7 kept reiterating that whole message about the lone wolf dies but the pack survives, maybe if she's got the same power as Bran and can warg, maybe she could warg into Nymeria and live on as part of a direwolf pack or something. It's just a theory. I don't know what's going to happen with Arya. What do you guys think? And then there's Jon, who I do think will survive because he is such a key player, and he is R plus L equals J. He is potentially the prince that was promised. He could be the Azor Ahai prophecy, we don't know yet, but he does feel too important to kill off, and he has already been killed off. What is dead may never die, right? So maybe he will get to the end, but I don't know, he is such a heroic character that if he was going to die, it would probably be a self-sacrifice kind of thing, maybe giving his life and becoming the new Night King. Maybe he'll plunge a dragon glass dagger into his heart and become the Night King, and that's how he succeeds in getting peace between the human beings and the whites. Maybe that's how it'll end up, we don't know. As for deaths at Winterfell, I think we're going to lose a lot of people. I think we will lose Varys here because there's that clip in the trailer where he's in the crypts of Winterfell with women and children and he looks terrified, and Melisandre did prophesy that he was going to die in Westeros, and yeah, this might be his time to go. And yeah, also Melisandre prophesied that she was going to die there as well. Maybe not in Winterfell, but she will die somewhere over the course of the 6 episodes, that's for sure. I think we will lose Podrick, he's just not that strong of a fighter. I think we'll probably lose Bronn as well. Beric, I'm pretty sure, is a goner. He's already died, 6 times, and now there's no Thoros to bring him back from the dead. He gone. And then there's a bunch of secondary characters who are fantastic fighters, but they probably need to die in order for the stakes to feel real, and they include Tormund, Grey Worm, Ed, Jorah. These are all great characters which we will be sad to see die, but some loved secondary characters have to die in order for us to feel the weight of the situation. And then there's Brienne of Tarth. Oh god, I don't know about her. She's a character where I really want her to survive, but if the writers want us to feel the real crippling loss of what's at stake, Brienne could kick the bucket because everybody loves Brienne and she is probably one of the few characters left with just so much honor, but honor gets you killed in Westeros. I've got a little asterisk next to her. I don't know if she's going to live or die. What do you guys think? There's also a few other characters that I've got an asterisk next to because I'm not sure if they're going to live. One of them is Lyanna Mormont. I really love her as a character, but no child has ever been safe on Game of Thrones, even if you're a beloved one. Could be a way for them to shock us with a child death on screen, so yeah, Lyanna Mormont, I would like to see live. She could live, but yeah, she could die. I do think that the Hound, though, is going to survive at Winterfell because he needs to get to King's Landing, because there is no way in hell the writers are not going to give us Clegane Bowl. It's been teased, and if we do not get Clegane Bowl, Everyone's gonna be disgruntled that we're not getting what was promised, and we've been wanting it for so many years, and yeah, he's got to get to King's Landing in order for him to face off with the Mountain. Brother v brother, one less standing, maybe neither of them are less standing, but yeah, we have to see that final showdown between the two of them. And then there's Davos Seaworth, who I really want to see survive because he is one of my favorite characters, and I think he would be a great, crucial player after the war is over. But just because you love someone doesn't mean they'll survive. Like, this show knows how to hurt you, and yeah, he could be a character death where a lot of people will get very upset over, and yeah, even though I want to see him survive, I don't know if he will. And then there's Missandei. She's another character where I'm 50-50. I don't know if she's gonna make it to the end. Is it Missandei or Missandei? Am I saying that right? I genuinely don't know. Missandei. I've been watching this show for years. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. And then there's Sam and Gilly and Little Sam. Now, Game of Thrones doesn't dish out a lot of happy endings, but because Sam is probably the character that is most relatable to George R.R. Martin, he will probably make it to the end, and he will probably be the only one that kind of gets the happy ending with Gilly and Sam. Gilly would be more likely to die, I think, because Sam is going to be the one writing history books, really, and Gilly doesn't need to be there. But if the writers are feeling nice and there needs to be one family to continue on, then it will probably be Sam and Gilly and Little Sam. Jaime Lannister, I think, will definitely survive the battle at Winterfell between the living and the dead because he has such an important part to play in King's Landing with Cersei's demise. So yeah, he will definitely make out there alive. And I also think Tyrion will as well, because it would be so nice to see the three Lannister siblings all together one last time, reunited. So anyway, back to Winterfell. I do believe that after the dust has settled of the fact that Dany and Jon are related, and they doinked, and they probably made a baby, that Dany will realize that because Jon has Targaryen blood in him, he will be able to ride a dragon, and that means that Dany and Jon will be the dragon riders. She will ride Drogon, he will ride Rhaegal, and they will be instrumental in taking down the Night King and obviously the dead Viserion dragon. I do think they will find a way to kill Viserion, but I do think the other two dragons will probably die. Dany will survive the battle at Winterfell because she'll be pregnant, and we need to see how that story is going to conclude. But I don't think that Dany is going to survive season 8. I think she is going to be the most brutal, most heart-crushing death of the season, because we have been watching Dany's journey go from slave to mother of dragons to breaker of chains to rider of dragons, and yeah, just this amazing badass queen, warrior, conqueror. And it makes the most logical sense for Dany to be the one to be victorious, to sit on the Iron Throne and be queen. But George R.R. Martin hates predictability, he hates cliche, he hates, the obvious route. And that is the most obvious outcome, is for Dany to be victorious. And it's just not going to happen. So I think she will probably die. There are a few ways she could die. It could be a noble death, maybe a self-sacrifice death, like maybe she'll die in childbirth, giving her life so that the prince or princess that was promised could live. That could be a very fitting conclusion, because she's always been such a maternal presence and figure, mother of dragons, mother to all these former slaves. Her gift to the world, to the realm, could be birthing the prince or princess that was promised. And that could be the way that she saves the realm and breaks the wheel, metaphorically. There's also the option that Dany becomes mad with power and she needs to die before she turns into her father, the Mad King, and rules with fire and vengeance, and maybe Jon is the one that ends up killing her. Or both Jon and Dany sort of fulfill the Azor Ahai prophecy, and yeah, maybe Jon is the one that has to fulfill the 7th part of the prophecy by sacrificing someone that he loves in order to bring forth a powerful weapon, which could be Lightbearer, and that could be the tool to defeating the Night King. And maybe that's what he needs to do in order to do it, is to give up the thing he loves the most, and that could be Dany. If Jon did sacrifice Dany in order to bring forth Lightbearer, in order to kill the Night King and save the 7 kingdoms, that would be some powerful TV, and it would be a very bittersweet ending, which George R. R. Martin said he has wanted to end the show on, a very bittersweet note. He wants the good to conquer the bad, but at a cost, and this could be the cost. I don't think the Night King will be victorious. I mean, it would be a very, very bleak, dismal ending if evil conquered good and all humanity was wiped out and the Night King was left to rule and sit on the Iron Throne. But I don't think the Night King will be victorious. I think they will find a way to defeat him, and I think it will be Jon that takes him out. But who knows, maybe the Night King might be successful. Maybe he will take Winterfell, and only a handful of the good guys will survive. They'll get away on a dragon, fly to King's Landing, and say to Cersei, okay, we need to unite with the Golden Company and the Elephants and whatever forces are left in the south to take on the Night King in King's Landing. We don't know, who knows how it could end. As for King's Landing, it would appear that Euron Greyjoy has been successful in recruiting the Golden Company, but I do think that Euron Greyjoy is going to die, probably at the hands of either Theon or Yara, because he is a detestable bastard of a character and will be satisfying to see him die, particularly if Theon does it, because Theon's arc has just been, he's just gone to some tragic low depths, and him killing his uncle and saving his sister would be a very heroic moment of redemption and his character coming back into his own. It would be a great payoff for Theon. God knows he needs something good to happen to him. But will Theon and Yara both survive? I don't know. I feel like after all the shit that Theon has been through, it would be quite fitting for someone who's been so torn down and scarred to actually still be standing by the end of it. But if he wants to be a hero, maybe he will sacrifice himself, and his sister, who's more capable of being Queen of the Iron Islands, will survive and she will live on. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Who do you guys think will survive with the Greyjoys? Like I said before, I think Tyrion and Jaime will both make it to King's Landing because we're going to want to see that Lannister reunion at some point, and it also keeps us on our toes if the Valancourt prophecy is going to come true, because Valancourt means little brother, and Maggie the Frog prophesies that the Valancourt would choke the life out of her. So is the Valancourt prophecy referring to Jaime or is it referring to Tyrion? Most likely it'll be Jaime, but we'll wait and see. And the other part of Maggie the Frog's prophecy is that a younger, more beautiful queen would rule and Cersei would be cast down. Who is the young, more beautiful queen? Is this Daenerys? Is this Sansa? Is this Brienne of Tarth? Who knows, maybe it's even the baby that Daenerys is carrying. It could be the princess that was promised. Maybe that's the one that's supposed to take down Cersei. But yeah, we need to see how it's going to unfold, because we know that Cersei is going to die. There is just no way she is going to make it to the end of the series. Even though Cersei is my favorite character, I know she's going to die. But the question is, how is she going to die? There's only a couple ways that we can see it die. It's either going to be the Valancourt prophecy and we see Jaime or Tyrion kill her, or we might get what has also been teased, and that is Arya ticking the last name off her list and killing Cersei herself. Now, I don't know which way the writers are going to go, because for Arya, I mean, it would be fitting to see Arya tick all the names off her list, but the Valancourt prophecy feels like it would pack more of an emotional punch, and the only way that I can see them meshing together is if Arya was wearing the face of either Jaime or Tyrion and choked Cersei to death. That would be a big twist reveal, wouldn't it? But I just don't think Arya has a motive or enough incentive to kill either Jaime or Tyrion and take their face and use it to kill Cersei. But I would say it's more likely that it will be Jaime is the one that kills her, because he was the Kingslayer and now he will be the Queenslayer, and this will be how he fully redeems his character for all the crap that he's done by taking out the one that he loves. Jaime and Cersei have to die together because they're two characters that have been entwined together since birth, and it's been foreshadowed in the books and the TV series that they are going to die together. Jaime has said he is going to die with Cersei, and it would be the most emotional and dramatic and symbolic way for these two amazing and beloved characters to go out together. My guess is that I think Cersei is going to lose the baby that she's pregnant with, and because she's got nothing else to lose, and she knows she's going to lose, she decides she's just going to take as many people with her as possible, and she's going to plan one more big wildfire explosion, taking out as much of King's Landing and her enemies as possible. But Jaime is going to intervene. He is going to be the one that kills her, probably close to the Iron Throne, choking her to death with his one good hand, and then as she lies dead in his arms, Cersei's plan will go off and King's Landing will explode in a gust of wildfire, consuming Jaime, killing him with his lover in his hand, going out of this world in the same way that he came into it, with his sister, his love, holding each other together in an embrace and being blown to death, and along with the Iron Throne. I think that is how they're going to die in the last episode together. That leads me into what I think is going to happen with the Iron Throne. There's a good chance the Iron Throne might not even be standing at the end of Season 8 because of what the throne represents and how many characters have plotted and schemed and wanting to sit on it, and how many people have died in order for someone to sit on it. It just feels like that would be the most satisfying way for the show to end, if that no one gets to sit on it, because it's been destroyed, and its destruction brings in the next thing that happens after this Game of Thrones. Maybe they build a new throne, maybe there's someone else in a position of power, maybe there's a new power structure or political system in play, but if the throne isn't there for anyone to sit on, it's a symbolic gesture of the game has ended. I think the throne will be destroyed. Whether it's Cersei with wildfire, or Daenerys with dragonfire, or the Whites with never-ending winter, it would still be very satisfying to see it completely gone. Who knows, maybe zombie Hodor will sit on the Iron Throne. Your guess is as good as mine. I would love to know, who do you guys think is going to sit on the Iron Throne? What do you think is going to happen to the Iron Throne? So as for the end of the series, I don't know who's going to be ruling the North, who's going to be ruling the South, if all the dead are going to be defeated, if the Whites are still going to be alive. I don't know. I really don't know how they're going to leave us, but I'm sure everyone's got a theory. All I can really do is predict who I think is going to be left standing. And I think we're going to have Jon, Tyrion, Sansa, Gendry, probably Davos, Missandei, Theon and Yara, probably Samwell, Gilly and Little Sam, and then there's a few characters who I would like to see still standing, but I'm not quite sure. Lyanna Mormont, Brienne of Tarth, and I hope to God Arya's still left in it. I would love to see her still standing. The big deaths of the season will be the ones that have been in it since the beginning. I think that'll be Dany, Cersei, Jaime, and probably Bran. And then there'll be loads of secondary characters who will probably die, and they are the Night King, Beric, the Hound, the Mountain, Tormund, Mira Reed, Bronn, Grey Worm, Podrick, Euron, Varys, Melisandre, Qyburn, Little Robin, Edmure Tully, and Jorah Mormont. There are probably a few characters that I've forgotten about, so if I have, be sure to let me know who you think is going to live and die in the comment section below. As far as the show goes, guys, I have no idea how it's going to end. I'm so excited to find out. I'm sure it'll be just as devastating as it is satisfying, but yeah, I'm very excited to see how it's all gonna unfold. But there you are, guys. That is my predictions as to what I think is gonna happen in Season 8 of Game of Thrones. Of course, this is just one bloke's ideas and theories and predictions. I would love to know, what do you guys think is gonna happen? Who do you think is gonna live and die? Who's gonna sit on the Iron Throne? Who is going to be the one to take out Cersei? What's going to happen with the Night King? Where's the show going to leave us? I would love to know from all you big Game of Thrones fans out there, how do you think Season 8 is going to go down? Whatever you think, be sure to let me know in that comment section below. If you guys do like my channel, please don't forget to click subscribe. And if you guys want to follow us on Twitter or Instagram, you can find all that information in the video description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and now your watch has ended.